behalf of Rapid with this webinar, organized with the support of UK Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO. Today's webinar will delve into a very important topic, tariff and exchange rate pass-through for apparel exports from Bangladesh. This topic holds great relevance as the apparel sector is still a cornerstone of Bangladesh's economy, and understanding the impact of tariffs and exchange rate pass-through is crucial for ensuring sustainable growth and competitiveness in the global market. We are honored to have with us two distinguished speakers. First, our presenter, Mr. Saiful Islam, who is Senior Research Associate at Rapid, who will share in-depth research and insights into the dynamics of tariff and exchange rate pass-through in the context of the Bangladesh's apparel exports. And as our moderator, we have Dr. Mohammad Din Islam, who is Research Director at Rapid and Professor of Economics at the University of Dhaka, whose expertise in economics will guide the discussion and enrich our discussion of this topic. This discussion will provide valuable insights into how external economic factors like tariffs and exchange rates affect the performance of Bangladesh's apparel exports, and the findings of the study are expected to contribute to better policy formulation and strategic decisions in this sector. Once again, thank you so much for being here with us, and we really look forward to an engaging and thought-provoking session. Without further delay, I would like to hand it over to our moderator, Dr. Din Islam. So over to you, Din, sir.
Thank you very much, Jara. And thank you everyone for joining us today during this day of fasting and Ramadan. Today we have a very important paper will be presented by our own Senior Research Associate at Rapid, Saiful Islam. So you'll see this is one of the paper that actually have rigorous economic analysis at the same time a very strong policy implication. So we'll listen to Saiful for about 25 minutes. Then we can have open discussion, question and comments. But before we start the presentation, we have here with us our respected Executive Director of Rapid, Yusuf Sir, Professor Dr. Mohammad Yusuf Sir. Sir, can you please share a few thoughts on today's topic and paper? Will be very grateful, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Din. And in advance, I would like to congratulate Saiful because this is a very technical paper. I know the consequence or importance of this paper. There is enormous importance, tariff and exchange rate, and in the context of apparel sector, and there will have some policy implications as well. So our young researcher, they will be enormously benefited. I think they may follow his presentation findings, and maybe he has done huge technical analysis. Our young researcher also, will advise them to talk to him one-to-one if any technique or tools you would like to know on this important issues. Maybe you will also be benefited. So I think very important issues, and there are some econometric analysis there, and this technical paper, and hope that it will be also published in the journal later, so wider audience also will be benefited. But this is a very timely initiative, and due to the ongoing trade scenario, not only in the context of Bangladesh, the global context also, this paper, very important analysis also very important. So thank you, Saiful, and thank you, Dean and Zara, who organized this on behalf of Rapid. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. As Ifu sir was saying that this research is very timely. we are seeing in international trade lots of uncertainty regarding tariff, and since our main export item, apparel, is also subject to high tariff in US, and probably will be a subject of tariff in Europe after the ATC graduation if it happens in November this year. So in this paper, Saiful will discuss the potential impact when this additional tariff will be imposed in Europe for Bangladeshi apparel products. So, without further ado, let us go to Saiful. Saiful, please take next 25 minutes and share the research. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining this webinar, and I want to thank Zara for her warm welcome, and Dinsar and Yusuf sir for giving me this opportunity. Any further delay, I want to start my presentation. Before moving on my presentation, I want to share an insight. As US imposes reciprocal tariff on several countries, especially on apparel items, their apparel import growth has been shrinked. So what impact has been happened in this particular country in US, which is of our top interest? Uh, Please allow me to share my screen first. Is my screen is visible to everyone?
Yes, and please do a full screen. Yes.
Thank you. Uh, After the reciprocal tariff impact on US apparel import, we have seen that the total imports has been shrinking. And what impact on the average price, unit price, which is uh, despite the tougher competition US market, the average unit price has been shrink up. So if we consider that in apparel import, US on an average increases the tariff by 20%. So the average unit price increases by only 2%. So what does it mean? Means that some of the tariff has been absorbed by the importer, and some of the tariff has been absorbed by the uh, exporter. So in that case, the US side, they only partially bear the tariff by 10%. On the other side, exporter in USL apparel exporter who bear the burden by 90%. So in the similar case, we can see these type of competition can be happen in our post LDC graduation. So in my today discussion, I will be sharing on a very important and central topic of international trade, which is tariff and exchange rate pass-through. In our case, we will only consider on the Bangladesh for European Union apparel export. Before moving on, I want to share some important key points on this. That Bangladesh is going to be graduated by this year in November. So by 2029 in European Union, we will face an MFN tariff, which is on an average by 12%. This is a very important market. I want to share that our apparel export is mostly concentrated in apparel, and most of the trade is concentrated in European Union, which is approximately 50% of our total export. So European Union is a very important destination market for us. But an important research question, which is that after LDC graduation by 2029, 3 years of transition period, Bangladesh will have to face a 12% tariff rate in this market. So who will bear this burden? As earlier I said in the US, that some of the tariff has been absorbed by the exporter and some of the tariff has been beared by the importer. So we want to know the policymaker who will absorb or bear the most of this debt. So in post illicit graduation, our other competitor will face a very relaxed tariff rate in European Union compared to Bangladesh. Already Vietnam has secured an FTA with European Union, which is already facing 1.1%, and by 2029 it will face 0% tariff rate for apparel. I also want to add India, which is by recently secured a trade agreement with European Union, and for apparel imports they already secured 0% tariff rate, which is implemented by 2026. So in this key European market, Bangladesh will face a 12% of tariff rate. On the other side, his key competitor will face 0% tariff rate. So it would be crucial for us that our competitiveness will be erodes in the European Union while other competitors are getting some advantages by Bangladesh. So Bangladesh is currently facing a dual threat in European Union market. Preferential margin is eroding, and competitor countries are securing their FTA with European Union. Before moving on to my topic, I want to share some understanding on pass-through. What is pass-through? For example, I want to share an example with all of you. Let's Bangladesh apparel export price in the European Union is $100. So European Union, after post-LDC graduation, Bangladesh will face an MFN tariff of 12%. So there could be two scenarios. One is Bangladesh exporter will not bear the tariff and completely pass the tariff to the European Union. So what will happen? European importer will buy the product by 112 taka, as you can see in scenario one, which is known as complete pass-through. So Bangladesh will not be affected by the tariff. In another case, which is very likely in the trade literature, which is known as incomplete pass-through, which is that the European and Bangladesh exporter will share the burden. So, for example, a 12% tariff, exporter will lower their pre-tariff price from $100 to 93, and European importer will bear only 5 taka of 12% tariff. So, in that case, both Bangladesh and European Union shared the tariff burden, which is known as the incomplete tariff pass-through. So the most of the literature in international trade find that the tariff pass-through is mostly incomplete, and if the pass-through is high, which means that buyers will pay, and if it is the case for Bangladesh, the Bangladeshi apparel price will increases in European Union, and the subsequent consequence will be that Bangladesh will lose its substantial share in the European Union market. On the other side, if the pass-through is low, which means that the Bangladeshi exporter will bear most of the burden, then the farm profitability will be squeezed. As we already known in the previous literature, Bangladesh margin in apparel is very low. If exporter have to bear most of the tariff burden, then the farm may be go to the shutdown. So another important question is that can domestic monetary policy help in that case when there is a very much burden on the tariff from the European Union side? So another subsequent topic is the currency devaluation. As we all most of us know that the currency devaluation is a exporter increases exporter competitiveness, because the European Union see that if our currency devaluate against their European Union currency, then they with the same amount of euro they can buy more amount of product. So the competitiveness of Bangladesh will increase. So at that time, if the tariff increases, whether this domestic monetary policy can help. So we'll look into this. In the previous literature, as we already discussed, that most of the literature found the tariff pass-through is incomplete. But for US-China tariff, it is a very rare case where they found the tariff rate pass-through is mostly complete, which means that US imposes tariff on China, and China completely pass this tariff to the US importer or consumer, and they bear the most of the tariff. And for the developing country, Menon find that most of the case exporter of the developing country bear the most of the burdens, or they share the burden of the tariff. But in case of the Bangladesh, there are no estimation on tariff pass-through previously. Why? Because historically in European Union we face zero tariff rate under everything but arms preference. So in Bangladesh, in European Union we don't face any tariff rate, so there is no tariff variation, and without tariff variation we cannot estimate any tariff pass-through. So in this paper, we'll try to estimate this tariff pass-through with an alternative approach, which we'll discuss later. So in this paper, our major contribution will be the methodology, where we will use the counterfactual tariff rate for estimating tariff rate pass-through, and we'll also estimate the tariff pass-through and exchange rate pass-through together to see the to see the dual impact of this. Before moving on, I want to share that the Bangladesh competitiveness in apparel in European market is built on very low price, where the competitor country capture a very high prices. Bangladesh is getting a very lower price, which is approximately 30% lower than China and Vietnam. Another LDC country, which is Cambodia, also gets a higher price than Bangladesh. For all of you, I want to know that the price is weighted average unit value price, which means that Bangladesh top 10 exporting prices have weighted average price compared to their competitor products. In that subsequent case where I already shared that the exchange rate is kind of a really for exporter. If the currency is devalued against its competitor, exporter can take this in their cost function, and they can increase their competitiveness in their in their destination market. So before that, we want to know whether our currency is actually depreciating or not against the key destination market. The blue line in this graph show the nominal exchange rate against US dollar in the left side, and the right side is for euro, and the green and the orange line is representing the real exchange rate against the US and European Union. So in this case, we have seen that the Bangladesh currency nominal exchange rate is depreciating. The increase in this blue line indicates that Bangladesh currency is depreciating against its competitor, against the destination country. But if we consider the two countries price level, then we see a different picture, where the real exchange rate shows that the Bangladesh currency is not depreciating enough, they are appreciating. So in that case, the exporters' competitiveness is eroding at the same time. By 2022, higher monetary policy stance takes takes a significant change in the monetary policy stance, that the exchange rate is goes to market based, then the competitiveness is increases a bit further, but it is not enough to level up 2012 level. So it is the before that I have discussing that in the destination market. So our competitor country, which are the most apparel competitor country, their competitiveness is eroding against Bangladesh or not. So in this figure, we can see that Bangladesh's currency not only appreciating in the destination market, it also appreciating against the Cambodia, Vietnam, and Chinese. So which means that the competitor country already are getting advantages in terms of their currency exchange rate. Sorry. So the to before after I will proceed to how we can estimate this tariff rate exchange rate pass-through. So to build on this, we introduce a model which is known as the counterfactual model. We assume that Bangladesh is not getting any LDC types of benefit, but they are facing an MFN tariff or any other kind of tariff which a competitor country already facing. So based on this, we use a synthetic control method where we regress Bangladesh price against competitor countries' price, which will show that the Bangladesh price will up Bangladesh price will be higher if they are if they are not a EVA beneficiary. So the dotted line represent that if Bangladesh is not getting EVA preference, their price in the European market will be higher than what they are now charging in the European market. So you may question me how this kind of scenario can be happen. So I want to show you a real world scenario. In 2020, Cambodia's European Union imposed a suspension on EBA on Cambodia's apparel imports, or not specifically apparel import, most of some of their products in 2020. So after losing preference, the Cambodia's product, which is not getting any BA beneficiary, their prices increases higher than their products which are not included in this EBA suspension. So you can see the comparison. Then when a additional tariff is charges on a country, then their pre-tariff prices will tends to increases. That's why our counterfactual price can be justified. Now, I will not discuss more details about the estimation approach, but I will say it is a dynamic panel model to which will estimate the tariff pass-through, which is the beta 1 coefficient, and beta 2, which will show the exchange rate pass-through both in a nominal term and real term. Exchange rate pass-through will expect a negative coefficient since our price is in the European Union denominator, so we will expect a negative coefficient for beta 1, which will show that the Bangladesh will decreases their price if any kind of tariff imposes on the apparel exporter. At the same time, if the currency is depreciating, pardon me, here there is a mistake, which is which will be depreciation instead of appreciation. If the real exchange rate is depreciated, the price of the apparel price will be decreases, which means that they are competing in the European market better than the competitor. We'll also introduce a lag price, which will capture the stickiness of price from the previous year. And we also introduce some fixed effect, which is product fixed effect, destination country fixed effect, as well as year fixed effect. This fixed effect will absorb the demand structure, any kind of shock in the destination market. So this is the bench specification or the model estimated result. I will discuss about this. Or you will find this in the final working paper, which will be shared by Zara in the comment link. I will discuss about the finding of this result, which is that the exporters are likely to absorb 30 to 80% of new tariff by cutting their price, which means that if European Union imposes MFN tariff on Bangladesh, the exporter will bear the burden most, where only 20% to 70% will increases will be passed through the European Union consumer. So why the difference is very large? Because when we use the product fixed effect, the tariff pass-through is higher, which means that there is a very much product level of heterogeneity will induce this pass-through a bit higher. And another subsequent impact is the exchange rate pass-through. So if Bangladeshi currency is devalued against the European Union currency, so the exporter pass 50 to 70% currency into the European Union imports price, and rest of the things uh, will increases in their margin, exporter margin. So in this findings, we in this specification, we also want to see the role of exchange rate pass-through in two important categories in apparel, which are woven and knitwear. We know that in the literature we have found that the most of our knitted export are domestically, raw materials from knitted export domestically supplied. Uh, and the other side, the for woven export, most of the exports are supplied by the China or India. So when the currency depreciated, it also increases the cost of raw material for import side. So if the oven is highly dependent on the raw material from the outside, then their currency devaluation will be offsetted. So in this, so we want to see this phenomenon is correct or not. We have found this result is very significant and aligned with our expectation. We have seen that the degree of exchange rate pass through is higher for knitted export, which means that if uh, if the currency is devaluated, knitted exporter can pass through more to the European Union importer, while at the same time, woven export cannot. That means that although we are not suggesting anything that the currency government should take some measure to develop the currency, but if it is happens uh, as because of the inflation in Bangladesh against the destination country, in that case, Bangladesh competitiveness will erode for woven export. So in response to our findings, we imposes three recommendation, which will be tremendous for our policymaker or apparel exporter, which is the secure market access. As I already told earlier that the Bangladesh's export, 50% of export are destined to European Union. So most of the we have to secure this market before the post LSE graduation the tariff shock has been happened. So what we can do? We can secure our next GSP tier, which is GSP Plus, by ratifying 32 international convention and any other eligibility criteria for GSP Plus. But even if we implement or ratify the GSP Plus criteria, but you safeguard measure will not allow us to get a tariff rate of 0% under GSP Plus. Because of that, Bangladesh import is already higher by the GSP covered total import by European Union. So under safeguard measure, we will have to face 12% tariff. So our policy suggestion is that Bangladesh should advocate the European Union to remove this Article number 29 of safeguard measure, which will secure our 50% of tariff after 50% of export are after post LDC graduation. Another priority is that we have seen that even if our currency devalued more than the competitor country, we cannot take this advantage to our woven sector because of the low domestic value addition. So we are suggesting that we have to increases our backward linkage capacity by attracting foreign partners investment and advanced technology, and investing in domestic oven production. And another thing is that we have to incentivize our textile industry by giving them any kind of soft loans or any other uh, any other policy help. And another priority is that the Bangladesh is already exporting very low price product, or if they are exporting at low ended product. So if our product is very high value product, then it could be that we are not much affected by this tariff shock, because there are many significant evidence that the product if the products are very much highly valued by the importers, then the most of the tariff burden will be beared by the importer. So if we can increases our apparel product base to a high value products, then we can reduce this tariff shock. So to sum up, we can say that the LDC graduation is knocking our door. We, as a mostly apparel exporter, have to be cautious to secure our European Union market, as 12% tariff will be tremendous for the apparel exporter. Already they are producing at a very thin margin. So taking together, we have to be cautious and to be move on significantly to changes our apparel sector. Thank you.
Thank you, Saiful, for presenting the paper. So let me summarize few things from Saiful's presentation. So this research is important. Why? For two reasons. One is right now we have a lot of uncertainty about the tariff wars going on, and at the same time, probably we're going to graduate from NDC status uh, this year, November. So these two things will make our export subject to tariff in different countries. Similarly, we have seen that immediate after the COVID, we have very high depreciation of currency. Then we have some stability in currency, but we don't know what happen in future about the currency. But important thing for export is the real exchange rate. Given that our inflation is very high, even though our nominal exchange rate is stable for quite a few months, but our real exchange rate is continuously appreciating, our product becoming more expensive to the importers. So we need to know to what extent these exchange rate fluctuations and tariff variations affect our export performance in European country. And Saiful's the paper presented actually precisely does that. And how does it do that? It uses, since we are not facing tariff in European market, so one problem to estimate the impact of tariff pass-through, that if tariff is imposed, then at what fraction of tariff is absorbed by the importer and absorbed by the exporter. Exporter is Bangladeshi garments owners. So we don't know the tariff rate. We don't have tariff rate in European Union. So it's a challenge that how we can estimate the impact of tariff on export performance, even though our tariff is zero. So the innovation of this paper is that constructing counterfactual tariffs based on competitors' tariff rate. This paper actually offers alternative counterfactual tariff rate, and under this tariff rate, the export weighted price can also be computed, and the effect of tariff fluctuation and exchange rate fluctuation can be estimated. And the results we have seen during Saiful's presentation. So let me not elaborate further, but if you have any questions or any comments, since this paper will be submitted to a journal, so if you have any suggestion or any comments or anything you think that is important to clarify or is important to address, that would be useful. And if you also have some clarifying question, you want to know more about the methodology or data or anything else, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. Any question? Any question? The paper is a bit technical, and it's actually difficult to uh, grasp the main idea and methodological technicalities. But feel free to reach out later on if you have any questions or if you have any comments. But I would like to thank you, all of you, uh, for joining us today. And if you are interested to share your research and if you want to receive feedback or if you want to connect, if you want to connect with someone from Bangladeshi origin working on a particular issue in Bangladesh or in other countries, we can also facilitate uh, facilitating your research on this platform or connecting you with someone knowledgeable on the topic you are working on. So thank you again, and I hope to see you in our next webinar. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Din sir, Yusuf sir.
Thank you.